When you're scrolling through endless patio set options, it's easy to feel stuck between "I need something that looks nice" and "I don't want to spend a fortune on something that will fade or rot after a season." That hesitation is real, especially if you've ever bought a set that needed a fresh coat of paint every spring or a replacement chair after a storm. I'm going to walk through the practical side of the POLYWOOD Classic Adirondack 5-piece conversation set, so you can decide if it truly fits your backyard, your budget, and your tolerance for upkeep. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest promise POLYWOOD makes is that this isn't just another wooden set. The frames are made from their proprietary Climatetuff material, which is basically a high-density recycled plastic blended to mimic wood grain. In plain terms, that means you won't have to sand, stain, or seal it every few months. I've seen a handful of homeowners who swear by traditional teak because they love the natural feel, but they also end up re-oiling it twice a year to keep the color from turning gray. With this set, the color stays exactly where the factory puts it, thanks to Colorstay technology, so the white finish you see on the website is what you'll have for years unless you deliberately paint over it. Now, let's imagine a typical weekend. You roll out a cooler, set a few plates on the coffee table, and settle into the wide Adirondack chairs with a blanket. The seats are molded from the same Climatetuff material, so they're slightly softer than hard plastic but firmer than a cushion that sags after a few uses. I've watched a friend host a family barbecue with kids running around, and the chairs held up without wobbling, even after a sudden gust that knocked over a nearby garden umbrella. The forever furniture claim holds up when the set is left out year-round. Rain, sun, and even a light hailstorm didn't leave any water spots or rust, something you'd notice quickly with a metal frame. One of the selling points POLYWOOD touts is easy assembly. The box arrives with pre-drilled holes and color-coded hardware, which cuts the frustration out of building a patio set for the first time. In my own experience with other outdoor furniture, the biggest headache is mismatched screws that force you to backtrack and redo steps. With this set, the instructions are straightforward: lay out the pieces, follow the numbered steps, and you're usually done in about 30 minutes with a basic screwdriver. If you have a partner or a couple of kids willing to lend a hand, it becomes a quick weekend project rather than a full-day ordeal. So, who should actually consider buying this? If you live in a climate that swings between hot sun and occasional rain, and you want a set that won't demand annual repainting or oiling, it's a strong contender. The low-maintenance nature is a real time saver for busy families or retirees who prefer to enjoy the outdoors rather than maintain it. It also makes sense for renters who want a stylish setup that can be moved without worrying about damaging a wooden deck. The set's modular design means you can rearrange the chairs and table to fit a small balcony or a sprawling patio, giving you flexibility that many rigid wooden sets lack. On the flip side, there are a few scenarios where you might skip it. If you're a die-hard purist who loves the tactile warmth of natural wood and is willing to spend the effort on regular upkeep, you might find the synthetic feel a little too plastic despite its wood grain look. Also, the set leans on a modern aesthetic. The bright white finish can get quite glaring under direct midday sun, which some homeowners prefer to soften with a cushion or a slipcover. Extra accessories that add to the overall cost. Finally, while the price point is competitive for a 5-piece set, it's still higher than a basic metal or low-grade plastic set, so if your budget is tight and you're okay with replacing the furniture every few years, a cheaper alternative might make more sense. Looking at practical strengths, the durability of Climatetuff shines when you test it against the usual wear and tear of outdoor life. The chairs resisted cracking when a toddler tried to climb onto them, and the tabletop didn't warp after a heavy pot of chile sat on it for a couple of hours. The low-maintenance claim isn't just marketing fluff. A quick hose down removes dust and pollen, and you never need a chemical cleaner. The color staying true also means you won't have unsightly fading patches that can make a set look older than it is. The weaknesses are more subtle. Because the material is dense plastic, the chairs are heavier than a typical aluminum set. If you frequently rearrange your patio or need to store the set during winter, moving them takes a bit of effort, though the built-in handholds help. Another nuance is the comfort level without cushions. The molded seat provides decent support, but for longer lounging sessions you'll likely add